Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Tell you what, I'm going to pop that to one side until I have some people join me. Hopefully soon. But I can carry on with this. Oh gosh, while I bang, crash, and wallop things while I'm awaiting. Yeah, that'll do. I was going to say, shout at me if you arrive. Um, yeah, just checking my microphone is working this time. I'm just going to carry on adding stuff to this. Um, so hello. To those of you who are watching this on playback or whatever you call it after it's been streamed, it's it is Wednesday the 13th of November. We're nearly halfway through November already, and I've officially been not very well for the last 4 weeks with the lurgy, shall we call it, with COVID, and I had to see a doctor Friday because I had tonsillitis. And I still have got gungy tonsils, but the penicillin is working and it's just beginning to kick in. I can see some people have joined. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it says the chat is disabled. It shouldn't be. Can I enable my chat? Oh, I don't know. Oh dear, I've done something wrong again, which isn't unusual for me. It has to be said. Oh, hang on, pop out dashboard. Pen lines. Select stream, turn on. To know. To know. Sorry if you. I'm being a muppet again, but I'm not going to turn it off and start again. I'm really going to have to look in the settings. So thank you for joining me. As I said, it is Wednesday, the 13th of November. We're halfway through November nearly. I've got tonsillitis on top of recovering from COVID. I think COVID has whacked my immune system. I have antibiotics for it because it's the only thing that will shift it. It's really not pleasant. Luckily, it hasn't gone into my ears or into my sinuses, which can sometimes happen, or into my mouth, and which is very unpleasant if, oh, don't. So here I am. It is, I wish I could do, how can I, it's bugging me now. You can tell, can't you? I don't want to share my screen. I don't want to share. Edit. Let's try again. Pop out channel level settings. That's no good. Feedback. Oh, I don't know. I'm sounding pretty fed up, but hey ho, I've done something silly again. Huh, I'm sure you'll put up with me. I will miss people chatting to me though. So perhaps I won't do quite as long a stream as I would have done ordinarily. So I'm on the mend. I am feeling better, you know, bit by bit. Some days better than others. Today I'm very tired. I went out for brunch with my niece, which was delightful. She's such a lovely, sparkly person. Well, pink and fluffy mine. She says mine is pink and sparkly. And so you get the pair of us together, and I pity anybody who dares to listen to the conversation because it goes in weird and wonderful twists and turns. Okay, so what you can see here is me finish. Well, I've got some sections left to do and some twiddly bits and fuddly bits, no doubt. I started this yesterday. Did I do it yesterday or was it today? Yesterday. Kind of mandala, and I'm still working with Rebecca Blair inspired stuff, really. And so I simply used a compass. I thought I'd found the center of this page. I forgot these pages aren't exactly square, so everything was all skew-whiff by the time I did it. Do not ask. I can be incredibly dense at times. And I just randomly drew rings or added them as I went. And I started adding patterns. It's getting very fussy, but I quite like it. Part of me wishes I hadn't made these sections the way I have if I'd left them plain, because I quite like the zigzaggy nature of this diva dance, because I'm mixing Zentangle patterns in with it. This is done on Ohuhu marker paper with Winsor and Newton marker pens in shades of blue, sort of like sea blues, and a O3 Unipin pen and a white pen. I used 4 different shades of blue and a blender pen, which has actually disappeared where I used it. And I'm also using this white Pentel, is it Pentel? Yeah, it's Pentel Hybrid Gel Grip DX pen. DX means that the gel, the white ink, when it's dry, is document safe. So um, I'm just finishing this. Oh, I'm not going to finish it all off because, this is practically done. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in that ring yet, but I'll work that one out eventually. I just thought these blue bits here needed a bit of breaking up, and I didn't want to use black. I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I'm using white. I could have used metallic, but I wasn't feeling it. I think the white goes nicely with the blue, to be honest, and it gives something that's a bit different. The reason for these weird lines around here is I didn't find the centre of the paper before I started doing this. So this was all skew if, and I don't know. But I got there in the end. I just added the lines in, and if I scan this in, I can remove these digitally, or I could use white ink. I've got some white out ink here of some kind. Um, but it's been a nice project, I think. Um, but I've got some things to show you as well, some other things. So I'll just finish this section, and we'll have a look at it and zoom in so you can see the patterns a bit closer, hopefully. That's if the zooming in thing's working on the remote control. I'm just hoping I think I've got sound because the bar on the screen, my screen showing the microphone is on. So I'm assuming you can hear me. Otherwise, I'm happily talking to myself. Just start that one off. So let's have a look. Otherwise, I'll be here all night finishing. Oh gosh, sorry. The light I bought just a few months back to illuminate my work when I'm working has decided to go on the fritz. The colour randomly switches between colour tones. No matter what I do, it's not stopping. So something is obviously broken inside of it. So I've got to find out if it's under guarantee or warranty so I can send it back. That's going to be fun with Amazon. But let's have a look. No, that one won't work, Angela, because that's the remote control for a desk lamp, another lamp here. Lamps everywhere. Yes, so let's have a look. How do I go in? See, I'm being a complete idiot. There! Oh, there you go. Hurrah! Oops. It's as close as we can go unless I move the camera down. So you get a closer look at what the patterns are like. Um, the actual ring I started with was this one that's just got simple lines in it and a white background. I then did the inside. I did draw a couple of circles inside for this ring of little pebbles or rocks there. And they just grew out from there, really. These ones are interesting here. They've got sort of like rectangles at the end, rounded rectangles with a triangle in them. I thought I needed a triangle. Got triangles there like arrows. Got triangles here. I got triangles around the edge. Triangles everywhere. Here as well. Unless I said that already. It's just something lovely about triangles. I like triangles. Um, but I find the repetitive nature of mandalas quite soothing and comforting, predictable. Yeah, says she. You look at this one. Where's the predictability in that? It's a pattern. It doesn't always have to be symmetrical or perfect, but it works. Don't know what I'll in this dark ring here, I must probably put some white dots, and I'll use these as the guide to put them because I did mark out my circle pretty well. I did. And in this section, I think I might put leaves or some foliage of some kind. I'm not sure what, but there's no rush for me to make up my mind. This isn't the only one that I've done with marker pens. This is the first one I did with marker pens that I finished early yesterday. Well, I say early, it wasn't early. I didn't get up until late. I missed my Welsh class yesterday, so I was feeling really grotty with this tonsillitis. But I just chose I think it's 4 or 5 colours, both these mossy greens and then some orangey browns, and there's this one which is sort of like a very pale brown. It's this sandstone. I haven't added colours to these because I wanted to break from the colour. I wanted that kind of contrast. And in some of them, there are bits that have no colour in them. So I'm finding my way with what I like to do. And I need to zoom out, don't I? So you can see it all. Hurrah! Yeah, I'm really with it today. Not. So again, Rebecca Blair inspired, but you will notice things that are perhaps taken from Zentangle here. This one's a kind of Zentangle one. This one kind of is. You know, it's all mix and match down here, here. It's that kind of idea, but putting a different kind of slant on it. I really like doing these in the mandalas. There's something lovely about having these little sections, because even if I don't have a lot of time, if I've got one on the go, I can pick it up and just do something to get myself in the swing of things, or just to go, I need a break from this. Let's come do this. So there's that one. Okay, more. Yes, there's more. This is the book I have been working in with you. I think this is the last one I did with you, which is this. I've added a couple of patterns here, but I'm going to leave these open because as a reminder I can. Lots of notes, more notes here. This one I got so far and I'm leaving it as it is. I think I may come back to it and add some of these. These are actually the numbers of the watercolours from the Gansai set I was using, not Kuretake, another one. I like the combination of these purpley colours and the greens. And this that colour there is made by mixing that yellowy green and this purpley kind of colour. I think I used two purples, one that's a bit more purple and one that's a bit more pinky red. And fades here. So a bit of colour blending on the paper on the go. And this one was that kind of mixture as well. I think I got too fussy and ornate here. Again, that's my tendency. This one, I do like this page. I like I thought I'd made some big errors with the purple and the yellowy colour. Oh look, I've missed one there. Right, let me find my O3 pen. Just pop this in. There we go. Got to check that really carefully. But actually putting this pattern above actually helps it to work. It's sort of like it's just one of those things that you just have to try. Here I really didn't like the purple around here, so I've used some copper paint and I've added copper in other places as well, just to tie it in. I'm doing no more than that. Here and there, there's a couple there. And I decided in this section I'd rather like a little quote. It's a bit of, I didn't centre it very well, but it's a sketchbook. It says, "A friend is a second self." And that's by Aristotle. And I quite like that quote. I love the way these almost look like we've got a feeling of windows looking through things. And here as well, the the change in the saturation of the color almost gives a kind of glow behind it, like we've got some kind of moody sky or magical sky going on there. So I had fun, and then I started collecting patterns and things together. So I drew squares, filled them with watercolors. I basically used a blue and a green and I think a yellowy color here, and just created all kinds of gradations, sort of like mixing these three colors in different ways to get um, gradual changes in color. And so I carried on in the next two pages. And again, just using two or three colors on each page and mixing them. And then I didn't do any more because I was looking for a notebook to take with me somewhere. And I discovered this. Say, squared notebook. It's got tons of pages in it. I'd already started an index in it. And guess what? I already have tons of patterns in here I could use in this work, both the more Zentangle type things, as well as some that are taken or are inspired by Rebecca Blair. These are all Zentangle, and then suddenly the Rebecca Blair ones crop up, and then these are Rebecca Blair, me exploring variations on a theme. I love to explore. And then here I've started a new section, which is all Botanica and Nature, Organica. I've called it Botanica and Organica. So anything from nature that's organic, that captures my attention. And then I'm back to patterns. Hang on, I didn't label that page. No, the bottom here, this is my last page. I don't know if you can see. I'm numbering the pages as I go. So this is page 5, and then I've got an arrow telling me to go forward to page 10. So if I go forward to page 10, that Botanica and Organica continues on here. And again, if I go back here, it tells me that this continues on page 28. So I can just follow through as I go along. I don't have to worry about having things all over the place. Little trick I learned from bullet journaling a number of years ago. And I left some pages here in my infinite wisdom to fill in. And then I've got filler patterns and textures, some of which are Rebecca Blair inspired or Rebecca Blair kinds. Others are traditional kinds of textures and patterns you can use to fill things in. Then there, and I've left that page because I wanted to start a new section on a double page. So there's some Rebecca Blair and some more traditional patterns, and I've got space there to explore. Here, because I can't remember why, there was some reason why I put all the, I say all, I left a couple out that I don't like. But Zentangle patterns, the official Zentangle patterns. So I've got something to refer to. And then I've started looking at fragments, with the note saying draw them bigger because I've got more space for details. Yep. So these are bigger. And then here I'm going back to Organica, and I spent a day adding to this page from actually this page, this page, this page, this page, this page, just looking for things, both Zentangle or tangle patterns and from other things. There's some Art Nouveau crept in. I love Art Nouveau and all kinds of things, but it gives me that kind of reference. And this book is nice and thick. So I bought a folder with some ATC sort of like cards, ATC sized, not art cards, but those your sheets you put in a folder that you can put paper in like that, but they've got little sections in them. Don't know whether I'll use them for this, but who knows, I may decide to create ATCs. So what I've got here, I've just taken some of the marker paper, and I've cut it into strips. I'll tell you what size they are. The original, I trimmed it down to 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches, which is about 18.5 centimeters. This one is 4.5 inches wide, which is about 11.5 centimeters. And it is it is 19 centimeters tall, which is 7.5 inches. These ones, they're going to be the same height, but the width is different because why not? So this one is about 3 inches. It's a little more. So it's 7.75 centimeters, 7.75 centimeters. And I'm going to use the bigger one. No, I'm not. Oh no, I've got more stuff to show you. I do apologize. Let me show you. It's in the back of this here. I have a pocket that I've been stashing things in because I cut up some watercolor paper and some mixed media paper. Was it mixed media? Oh no, yeah, it is mixed media paper. And decided to create little cards of these. One's for waist, small and easy. This is the last one I did, so they're in reverse order. I love these yellowy browns. There's something about them, but this kind of almost greyish purple and the greyish colour there. And there's some green here, which is the same green, just seem to fit in nicely. I've elected here to leave the background white. I'm learning my lesson. If I try to add colour, I know I'm going to make a mess of it. The last book one I did of these was this. I actually put circles of watercolour and I let them bleed into each other. Not that you'd notice that. But I created pebbles and added texture. I think I've gone a bit too crazy with some of them. I could have left some open space, but It's exploring, it's finding out, and I did put a coloured background and tried to get darker colour where there would be shadows. This one's quite cute. I love these colours. I love this this sort of like reddy colour that's almost, it's got a good hint of pink in it, this pinky colour, very antiquey, and this lovely yellowy green, and I use some yellowish colour as well. And I like this. I do like that as a motif. I think I've seen that in Rebecca Blair's work. I'm almost positive, or something similar. And these worked out nicely. They're Zentangle inspired, and there's some gold, obviously, because who doesn't like a bit of gold? The next one was this one. Let's get them the right way up. See what colours I'm favouring. It's these pinky and purpley pinky colours, and there's some of this yellow, or it's actually that green there, but with this sort of like reddish colour, it mixed nicely. It looks like it's a green, and I have fun with that one. This one is a little bit longer, taller and longer, but I added some arts on there, like arches, and a tree there, made in the same way. I love the kind of a medieval kind of manuscripty flowers. Interesting pattern going on there, and all sorts there, but sort of like yellow green, um, a blue and a blue green. But I think I just used basically two colours of the yellow and blues, or yellow, green and blues. These were watercolours. This one was a bit different. A bit of a landscape of mountains and fields. Again, inspired by Rebecca Blair. Up here, instead of filling these in with patterns that are full of detail, I did some small ones and just dots. And I love this as a pattern. I use that quite a lot as a texture, a filler, to add interest in the background. And I don't know if you're going to see it on here, maybe not, but I actually put that circle of little dashes, little lines, on the background in white, no black, just white. And it's very subtle, but you can see it in person, even if you can't see it on the screen. Again, exploring the idea of using circles. I shouldn't really have let them touch, because they cut off the empty space here. But I'm learning. I'm always learning. And again, it's very sort of like muted colours, quite cool colours. Even this yellowy green here is quite a cool colour. The pinks feel not hot, but they don't feel exactly, they're not cold, but they're sort of like vaguely warm. And then there's this one as well, with those lovely blues and greens. I fall in love with this kind of colour palette as well. So I've been busy, haven't I? Even though I've been ill, I've been gradually puttering along. I did have a ruler. Here we have got a ruler. Pottering along with art, because it's something I can do that doesn't, tire me too much. And I can just leave it when I've had enough of it. Come on, don't need you all the way down. We're going to have you all the way down, are we? Okay. So I'm going to draw lines here about a centimetre down from the top. And then on the side, I'm going to draw a little less. I think 0.8 centimetres should do it. And yes, if you can see my pencil, I'm drawing in blue, because my pencil is a 0.7 polymatic pencil from Faber-Castell. Any 0.7 mechanical pencil will do. In here, I've got uni dia pencil, something like that. Coloured pencil lead that's erasable. Yeah. So who doesn't like a bit of colour in the pencil lead? So I'm going to pop that to one side, because that's a bit of a big ruler for doing things. And I do just want to, there we go. We'll open that. If it'll stay open, it's going to be a pesky one, I think, but we'll do it. I just want to sort of get a line better. I've got a small one here. I'd like a small egg border down here. Flip it. T-squares are the easiest way to get perfectly straight lines that are parallel to the edge. I'm going to divide this. I'm not measuring it, I'm just dividing it to what I think things will be all right with. I'm not a big one really for anything that involves measuring if I can help it, because I've always been really useless at it. Let's take this one. That's more or less parallel. Will do. Okay, and I do want to put another edge over here. I'm going to make it quite narrow because I'm not looking for symmetry, I'm looking for things of interest. And oh, another big section here, I think. Right, yeah, can do that. Oh no, I've now divided this at the bottom there somewhere. May use that. I'm going to put a small border at the bottom edge, and then here I'm going to split this into two smaller sections. They might be equal, they may not be. I have no idea. I had no intention of doing anything with them. So my first job is to start adding, not with that, try it with that, no three. Adding some outlines. Do I want to add outlines here? Not sure, you know, because I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to, so just went outside my guideline there, it's okay, because I'm not actually going to draw it in. I'm drawing some leaves here. And I think it'd be better if I zoomed in. Okay, so I drew one here that is just a little bit off the bottom, sort of like poking up from the bottom. And then a little bit lower than halfway down, I started the next one, the same here, same here. So I'm just sort of working my way up this section with all of these little leaves, almost like they're tucked in one behind the other. Right, just get hold of this so I can move it a lot easier. So I get a nice zigzaggy pattern. I really like this. In some ways, I prefer this to having whole leaves because it adds that idea of layers. Part of me is thinking it'd be rather good if I actually had some that were on top and some underneath as I go up, but rather than the regularity. But today, this'll do. Hopefully, I can share some different patterns with you or different ways of doing things. I don't know. There. Nearly lost what I was doing then. You can see as I'm getting up the top, these are getting closer together, and they've got that feeling of being a little bit smaller as a result, almost like a plant would. And I'm not worried about that because that adds a natural kind of interest to them. So this is my band of leaves. That's all I'm going to do. Now then, do I want to put lines on the outside? I don't think so. What I have got here is I did go. I've got my Winsor Newton ones were downstairs, and I thought I don't. Well, I'm hunting paper. Let's have one of those. No, that one will do nicely. Don't mind using bits of paper like this. These are Arteza Everblends. I've had them for a number of years now. I hardly ever use them, but they're alcohol markers, so let's make use of them. So this one is called Micro Green. It's a very pale colour, but that works nicely. This next one is Honeydew Green, which hopefully isn't a huge. Oh, it's a more yellowy green. That's nice. I like that one. What was it? Honeydew Green. So that feeling of the green you get inside honeydew melons. Picked out a yellow, which is honeysuckle green, which is an interesting idea, but, names of colours don't always make sense. That's a nice green. I haven't got that kind of green in the Winsor& and Newton. Honeysuckle green. You may ask, why aren't I doing this in the sketchbook? Because everything will bleed through that paper. This one, there can be a little bit of bleed through, but it's never huge with the Ohuhu paper. This colour is a brownie colour. Actually, that's quite a nice choice, especially as I didn't know how they were going to look. This one is Chero Brown. And then I chose Brick Red, which maybe actually is okay. I've got quite a nice, don't think I'm going to use the micro green. It's very pale. This is Brick Red. These last three look really good together. That one's a nice range, I think. So I'm going to use the green, if I can find it. It's that one. No, honeysuckle green. No, honeydew green. Start with that. And I will just fill these in with the green. And then I can come back and add some details. I like working with markers. I forget how much I like them. I like the flat colour you get because I'm not really looking for anything that's highly artistic or skilled with colour in any of these, really. I know I can play around with watercolour and get some nice effects and or mix colours together to get a gradation in colour or gradients in colour. But alcohol markers have their own charm, I think. The fact they dry quickly is one. Secondly, on this paper, or even on my sketchbook papers, they don't damage the paper as such in the way that water can, although they bleed like nobody's business on ordinary paper. The difference there, it's the same colour. How much greener it looks there with the black around it. Very strange. Really quite nice, really. So simple. I think. Then what I might try and do, try it on here first, is I put the leaf shape here. There's my leaf shape. And I'm just going to go around it with my pen now, rather than first, because I forgot. Let's have a look what it will look like if I add some of this on one side. Oh, yes. That would be very nice, wouldn't it, for half of the leaf? So I'm going to make, because it's darker, I'm going to make it the bottom half of the leaf. So it's going to be the left-hand side here, but on these ones, it's going to be the bottom right, as it were. Just look at which one's the lower part of the leaf. And that too will create a pattern as we go up here. Unusual colours, but you might think, you don't think I'm going to leave it just with the colours, do you? Don't be silly. If there's a there's a big enough space for me to add some texture, it's going to happen. You know that it will happen because who can resist it? And this might, oops, as I go in the wrong side. Come on, Angela, get your thinking head on, girl. Not that it matters, because that will all be disguised by any veins or whatever I put in here. Because they could actually be little seed pods or grains of corn or wheat grains or grass seeds or something like that. Nothing says that they are little leaves until I put detail in. They can be anything you want. but I am going to make them little leaves. So here in the centre, this one, this line will go all the way down, and I'm going to make it slightly wider at the bottom, and I'm just going to put a couple of V's in like that. They're not going right out to the edge of the leaf. They are stopping short of the edge, just like that. And I'm doing nothing more than that, just two, as it were. And that's enough to give us the idea that these are leaves. So rather than me twist and turn the paper, let's just, now, because I'd overrun the line there, I just disguised it with this. The fact that this one, the line goes right up to the edge of the leaf is neither here nor there. And look at me here. I am now attaching the leaf vein, the central vein, to the top of the leaf. It'll be fine. Variation in nature, as in my pattern here. Try not to forget to thicken the lines. It's quite, I sometimes wonder if I'm getting a bit too rudimentary here with this, but I'm not going to be here for much more than an hour because I am tired. I've got Welsh in the morning, which I hope to get to tomorrow. Um, so I need to get to bed early-ish in the hopes that I can have a good night's sleep. I'm not sleeping very well at the moment. Um, I was sleeping, you know, 12, 14 hours a day for for about 3 weeks with the after effects of COVID. I'm still very tired. I get tired easily and I still get breathless extremely easily. So I'm still not free of it all, but yeah. When I saw the doctor, she said, "Oh yeah," she said, "particularly nasty one, this one. I had it a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm still not right now. I'm negative. I'm not contagious, but knocked me for six." So I thought, "Oh, good." You know, somebody else saying the same thing. She said, "No, it's not just flu, is it?" I said, "No, it's not just flu." Lowered my immunity, so I developed tonsillitis. I haven't had tonsillitis in years, but you know, there we go. And tonsillitis floors me as well for about 4 weeks in terms of energy. It always has done. It just, all to do with my immune system. Well, I am going to put a border around this. Just using my O3 here. And it's going to be a bit of a wibbly wobbly border because I'm rather into not, very wibbly wobbly lines, but ones that aren't perfect. They're drawn by hand. I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to have some interest or character. I want them to feel like they're human. If I want them perfect, I could do them perfect. But I always feel that it feels like I lose some of the humanity of my art when I do that. So I've done that, and I do need a background colour. Now I could use the churro brown. So let's have a look and see what that would look like around this. Let's try the other side. It would make those stand out, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that the brick red would be, oh yeah, nice dark colour, will make that green pop. So let's do this as I just try and move stuff around. Still on, yeah, still on screen. So the brick red would be lovely. To get a fine line, I barely touch the paper with the pen. These are tiny spaces, and the broader the line you want, the harder you just have to press on it. So I'm being very gentle and very light-handed, so I'm not running outside the lines here. I may leave tiny little white spots, and again, I'm not too worried because I may want to come in and add some texture patterns to this. Some hatching maybe, or not. It's quite an autumnal feel, isn't it? I have missed autumn this year. Between sleeping lots in the day and night, being confined to my home and only looking out the window, I really have missed the change in seasons again. And I miss that because I really, really do enjoy autumn. So I've got this. I really am enjoying this. I'm just telling you, I'm enjoying it. I like that. I really do. I'm happy with that one. I do want to do something down here, and I'm sort of tempted. I want to do another leafy pattern down here, but I'm not going to do the same one. And I say leafy, but I think what I might do is a kind of, is this flux or a muka variation? So they're basically like commas rather than leaves here. And if I think about them being like commas, I can draw them pretty consistently to a degree. They're not going to be perfect, but so that's going to be interesting. And I am going to draw my border in here. Do I want to go? I got space to do one there. I have. It's going to go outside the border as I wanted to draw it, but I don't mind, to be honest. I can live with that today. We've got some spillage out. It's got all excited and it's burst through its confines. And I think here I'm tempted to do these in, see, red, and I'm tempted to swap the colours around, but I'm not going to. Oh, wrong end. Let me fill these in with the honeydew again. Do this because it starts to saturate the paper with ink and it remains damper for longer. And when I come back with the other colour, it will blend out just a little bit more, which is rather nice. So I'll come back with the honeysuckle and I'm going to put this around the end here. Let's just flick it in and down. It's my natural direction for flicking, but it's better than me twisting and turning the paper all the time. So she's just adjusting the place for the paper. Flicking is where you start with quite a, firmish texture and you just move quickly and you allow the ends just to lift up so you get a finer line and less ink out of it. And then I can just go back with this. I'll add a bit more green, but I just want to see if I can blend this area out. It may not be all that, it may still be a bit noticeable, which is why you can go and add pattern to this. So I'll leave that dry. And then these little sections, I'm going to fill in with that brick red because I like this brick red. I went outside my black line there, I'm not worried. Worst comes to the worst, that's what white gel pens are for. This paper is very white, so unless you're looking really hard, you won't notice the white corrections. Certainly not once I've scanned it in. So yeah. Do okie dokes, let's have a look at this. Yeah, nearly done. Find it a lot quicker to work with alcohol markers as well. Tell you what's needed here that I haven't, it's just a little bit of a corner there, so it looks like it's behind. That actually works nicely. And here, I do want something in here. What I'm going to do, I'll use the O3. I'm going to follow the line round here and I'm just going to give it a little spiral in. Almost like something's filled up. It's not going to be perfect each time, but it's fine. So that's interesting because they look almost like leaves, or they could be like seashells of a kind. So we can look at it either way. So those are really nice. Okay, folks. Let's start with this section. And yet, seriously, one with lines with serious kinks in them. And this one, I am actually going to go back over this and thicken up some parts of this to make it look more interesting. Everywhere along, just some places. And that extra ink really does define this space really well. Think of it as like a bit of like a single go around of kind of diva dance, but not quite the same way, if that makes sense. It's that kind of idea where you've got lumps and bumps. And it just adds that little bit of interest to these lines, which means that if I was to draw this freehand without my pencil lines, it would look, just as good. And I'm also going to put a border inside this. Now, this I may very well leave just white. It just helps to frame whatever I'm going to put in here, and I feel the need to use perhaps a fragment to create a pattern here. So if I pop my sketchbook out of the way and I go and get my yellow notebook, lovely sunshiny yellow. I really am favouring mustardy yellows these days. I seem to be wearing them an awful lot. I've got some fragments here, and they are kind of taken from Zentangle. Right, let me just zoom back out. With this, I can only go in and then all the way back out. It doesn't allow me to go up and down at will. That's an interesting one there. I don't think this is an official one. I think this is Angela working with variations on a theme, because that's what I do. That's what I like to do. I'm looking here. See, that's something similar, but I really like this with those little cats on. I think they'll make an interesting. That's a nice one. I use that somewhere in one of the things I've shown you. I like that one. So those are the official Zentangle pattern things. Let's go back. See, these are Rebecca Blair's, and they are almost fragments, but I don't want to use those. That's nice. Those are nice. But no. Let's go and have a look. These are some of the ones. See, I like these. You see them. I'll zoom in. Oops, sorry. Here, where I've used arrowheads inside the triangles. That one's quite fun. That would make a lovely ribbon, or leaving diamonds as well would work. There's just something lovely about having that, and it creates a kind of ripple effect as you look at them. These little ones are fun. I do like these as well. It's hard to decide, isn't it? It's too much to choose from. Those are fun. That's a variation. All I did there was this point I lowered down. So I moved it down that way. So instead of being dead center, it's towards the bottom, so you get a different shape. I do like these kinds of shapes as well. And these curved triangles are fun. And variations on well, and I said well, or whatever it is. And all of these here, quite fun. I do think we may do this one. So while I'm here, let me just have a go at how do you draw this. So it's a case of starting with a square. And before I do anything else, I am going to put those little caps there. And then I'm going to imagine a line going up to the middle. And I'm going to put two on either side. So I've got almost like two strands of cotton or something, or paper or something. And then I'm just going to create a little pointy leaf shape behind, and I'll fill those ends in so it looks like we've got some little caps going on. And then the fun thing is I can draw this in. Though by the time I get to do this, I may have a different idea, but that's basically it. And I could have them all going in the same direction, or I can alternate that, have them circling around a point, which I think is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pop my yellow out of the way. Now I've done that. And here I'm going to create a grid. Okie dokes, let's have a look. I don't think I'm going to be able to put this in 4, so I'm going to put this one in 3. I'm doing it roughly, I'm not measuring. Haven't got time to measure, want to draw. And I think if I put them this way, I haven't really got squares, but if I put 3s this way, they're going to be rectangular. I think I might split them in 3. Perhaps I should have done 4 the other way, but I think I'll split it into 3 and see how we get on. So my first job is to do those corners. So it's this way here, then this side I'm going to go like that, like that, like that. And here, down and up, down, up, down, down, down. And then this kind of shape here again. So they're a bit bigger than I did there. It'll be fine. I may need to change what I put in the middle, but we'll work that when we get there. This, as it is, makes an interesting pattern. It almost ends up with like balls inside. But I now want to put these lines in. So I am going to do them one at a time. So if that one goes that way, this one will go the other direction. And this one goes the way that we did originally. So there's only 2 diagonal directions we can go. Next row, this one here, we're going to not go from top left to bottom right. We're going to go from top right to bottom left, like so. And just alternate these now across. I'm trying very hard to concentrate on what I'm doing because I don't want to muck this up. Okay, so this one is going this way, so here I want to go down. So we're zigzagging things. Zigzag this way. And again this way. You see that in the middle, I haven't got anything in some sections, just this central bit. And I'll work on that. Well, I won't work on that. I don't need to do anything to it. But these I now need to just go back and add my little leaf shapes in, which I'm just going to do. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So this is what really holds these bars, beams, strips of something or other in place. It keeps them where they're supposed to be. They're going through a hole. And something happens to them as they come out the other side. It's quite interesting where they come together in some ways. We get a funny little shape here, sort of like a double bobble, as it were, but it'll be fine. Didn't do a good job there, but it's fine. We say that, We can get stressed out about things not being exactly perfect, but in the grand scheme of things, if you don't point it out to somebody, people are unlikely to notice. You know it's there, yes, I know that, but I've learnt that often, unless you point it out, people don't actually notice, unless they're eagle-eyed. You do get some people who are like that. So that's really nice. Okay, so this one, I put a square behind them. I'm tempted to actually put a circle to echo these shapes here now. Something just a little bit different. So I'll put one circle and then I'm going to put one inside like so. Oh, excuse me, I'm hiccuping here. Twisting and turning this, I could have gone in one direction to begin with, couldn't I? And then come back the other way. I'm trying to make sure that the ends kind of meet up on either, as if they're going underneath. But I'm not exactly, I'm not perfect about it or about exactly the same amount of circle on each side. It is what it is. Just accept it for what it is, I think is the trick. I don't know why I was turning it round. It's just as easy to do it this way. I can be a bit of an idiot at times. And my brain is getting tired. It's been a busy day, a long day, and lots of information taking in. The cafe we went to, it was quiet to begin with, but lunchtime came and suddenly there were hordes of people. And then my niece had to go early because her twins were at school. There was a call that they needed something for one of the twins. So she had to go to deliver said things. And twins are 5, 6, I think. I could be wrong. I'm not very good at age. They, I get to hear all about them. I have, you know, there are reasons why I don't spend a lot of time with them, which I'm not going into. My niece, it's not because I'm any danger to them. It's they're very demanding in many ways. They're delightful, but they have their challenges. And my niece is delightful, and she knows my challenges with noise and fluster and bother, and said, "Auntie Angela, I'll tell you when it's okay to come and say hello to them." Okay, Leonie. Okay, hey. Oh, something funny. I nearly introduced myself as Angela Love not long ago. Angela. Oh no. Yeah. So that's my variation on some kind of theme. I'm actually quite disappointed that these haven't worked out um, so much as these little holders. Yeah, I don't know what I've done wrong, but they'll work out fine. Okay, next job. I am going to use colour because these demand it. I'm going to use red brick. Do I want to do it all the way behind them? Would that take away from the pattern? I think it would. So I think I'm going to alternate. Oh, I did the wrong place there. Oh, shoot. White pen, white pen. I call white pen privilege, as it were. White gel pen. That'll correct that. Not a problem. Phew. And this one here. So I still want to keep this kind of grid-like pattern here, or bring that out, but at the same time, don't know what that was. There was some strange noise there. Something moved, made a little scratch. But at the same time, I don't want to bring it out, with two different colours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that Churro Brown next door to this because it's not a red, but it's not, a green either. It's sort of like a brown, which is yellow basically, but it's a warm brown. As I go through the white, gel pen. It's a funny shape there. I don't know why I thought that was funny. They're all going to be slightly different because nothing's perfect here. There's no perfect repetitions. I'm not a computer. I'm not AI. I'm real I, as are you all. And what we think of as imperfections are actually our little signatures, our uniqueness, our humanity, our personality. They're an expression of how our hand-eye coordination, how our muscles and muscle memory work, the way we like to hold our pens, the colours we choose, how wobbly lines are, how exact you are in drawing things. That actually is fun. I like that. I'm going to use the light green, not shall I try the micro green? I think I might. No, it's very pale. Hardly any colour in it, so I won't use that one, but I will use the honeydew green. I think I'm going to use that on these parts to give them that feeling that they are lighter and higher up than the rest, perhaps. Even these ones in the middle here, which haven't got anything going into them. I didn't expect to have those there, but they're part of the pattern, and so I'm going to leave them as they are. If I remember in future, perhaps I wouldn't put those in. I'd think I'd draw the lines in. I'd perhaps put some guidelines in first, but then I wouldn't have lovely circles, would I? And in fact, I think what I might do with these two on their corresponding ones elsewhere is I'm just using so that hasn't got one, that hasn't got any going into it, neither is that. That one hasn't. Oops, it has. Oh, dearie me. Sort it. That one there. This is why I can add lighter colours. It should bleach it through. Let's use the lightest one as well, because it's got more blending solution, as it were, than anything else in it. So that actually looks interesting. I'm not sure if I want to add any colour to the lines, these bits here. I think I'm going to leave them as they are. I think what I'm going to do, I've got an O1 pen here. I think for these ones, I perhaps will just put some little lines in these sections. Sort of like a central line and then one on either side. So splitting it up into roughly equal thirds. So this one's the same. This one. So that just puts those towards the background as well, so that that is taken away from everything else. And what I think I might do is on these, where I've used this light brown, in these sections, I'm going to put red. Yeah, that one there as well. Because they're significantly different in colour and in saturation, that they will, that's a neat little green, don't want that one, that's the one I want, that they will still appear quite different and they won't look, similar you know, similar in saturation and tone or whatever. Can't find the right words now. Losing the plot. That gives a nice kind of pattern. And then the white bars, micro green on them, just to take some of that whiteness away and perhaps tie them in a little bit more. I'm not going hunting a different colour because that would really mess things up. I've got 5 colours here, so So this will just tone down that white. Just a little bit. It's very subtle, but it will. And we've got this going on. Dokes. I am tempted now to use the honeysuckle green. I'm not going to. It's a bit too close in colour to that. I want the brighter colours. Um, okay. Just going to tighten. That's a fat pen. That's an 05. Don't want to use that unless I have to. I'm just going to tidy up around the edges and in some places here where there's some little white bits in the middle and where I've missed with the colour. It'd be fine. Oh, no, don't want anything there. So that's quite interesting. I think this would be fun if I did add colour to these, but in a colour that contrasts. Yeah, contrasting colour, like a complementary colour. So a darker green. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as it is. It's a learning thing. This bit around the outside, I'm going to leave it white for now, but I'm very tempted to put like a checkerboard and all the way round, or um, I don't know what, but we've got that. So I've got a little section down here. In fact, I've got two, and I'm going to use this bottom bit here, and I am going to. I've got an 05 pen here, so I think I'm just going to use this because I've got it in my hand. Just going to put that there, and I'll put some background colour in here. Just going to draw these in. I've decided not to take this long, thin border here all the way down to the bottom. I am going to just pop this one in. This one in. Yeah, this and one in. Yeah. Brain and mouth not functioning together. I'm fine though. I'll keep going. And let's have a look. Let's just do these. Give myself the spaces I need. I still feel I need these borders around sections. Um, Part of me wishes I could just put colour there and feel that it's adequate, but it never feels right to me. There's always this boundary needed, this this defining line that says this is one area, it's not the other. So that's now my sampler, if you like. So I'll just zoom out so you can see what it's looking like already. I'll do a little bit more. This one here, I am going to add some colour to this, and I'm going to add that lovely yellowy green, the honeysuckle green. This kind of colour, the browny, yellowy, greeny colour, whatever colour you describe it as. I really like it. It's quite, I was going to say mossy, but it's not mossy. It's more like lichen. Don't know why it's called honeysuckle green. It's not a colour I'd associate with honeysuckles. But there we are. We all have our own idea of colour. Honeysuckles look different in different parts of the world. So I've got that one. And I think over here, rather than having a red background, I go for this brown, or shall I do I think I might do the Charo brown down here. And then what I should have done before starting to do this was to erase the pencil lines, but I'll go back and do that in a moment. So I'm going to get a bit of a patchy colouring in here, but that's fine. It actually smooths itself out after a little while. Normally I'd go side to side on the shortest direction. Instead of going the lengthwise, I go widthwise. So I don't know why I'm doing it this way. It's fine. let it dry. I've got an eraser here. Keep away from that section just in case. And then all of these blue lines will magically disappear. Going over it now. Not so much where I've put the alcohol marker, but by the time I finished, you won't notice it's there anyway. So I should have filled, put all these sections in, but then I wouldn't have these lovely little overspills of leaves and things. So, swings and roundabouts, swings and roundabouts. Yes, I know it's not a kneadable eraser because this one works much better with these coloured graphite pencil leads. They are graphite, it's just coloured graphite, sort of. Just moving, just getting all of that out so it can go in the bin rather than on the floor. Put some bits on the floor, it'd be fine though. Okie doke, so those blue lines have mostly disappeared. There's this one underneath here. Got that about that. There's a little bit left there. A little bit left up here. And I think, scan, can I get any more of that out there? Yeah, just a bit. There we go, that'll be fine now. Okay, so what can I put in this one? I'm going to put, not an O1, where's my O3? Where's my O3? I'm going to put some triangles. I really love a triangle. And because I love triangles, let's put triangles towards the top of each point here. Just like that. And it's the vertical line down, which I may come back and thicken a little bit because it is a bit spindly. I don't know if you've noticed, anybody who's watched me before with this, my last video, my last live, is that I'm using broader pens with a broader nib than I had done previously. I found that like the O1s, O2s are just a bit too spindly to my liking. I try things like this from time to time and I think, Angela, what on earth are you doing? Yeah, I really struggle at times with myself. But I do like these nice bold lines that say, we're here, we like ourselves, we're showing off, we're making it so you can see us, we're strong, we're not spindly, we're not going to break a wind. Of course, yeah, I could thicken the line just a little bit there, but it's not necessary. So I've got that going on, which is quite fun. And I do want to just add some dimension to these triangles. So I'm just going to add some weight to alternate lines. Doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm doing it so that the one that would, one on the left would be, it just messes with your head basically. Now I could go back in and add another colour on one side to darken it, which I might actually do. I might actually use the red or perhaps go over it with another colour. Here, I'm going to draw little boxes. Some of these lines may not be parallel. Am I going to worry about that? Nope. Not important today. Perfection is not important. And I'm going to fill these with still got bits of rubber everywhere, or eraser. Little triangles all pointing in the same direction. Just like so. because I've got triangles here. I've actually got triangles there if you think about it. And these are kind of triangular-ish. You know, if you think the bottom of it's been cut off, but they're not really. These are definitely not triangular. Very spiral. In fact, I do want to just go back and give that central bit there a bit of oomph. Just something there just to, yeah, say, make a statement. This is slightly longer than the others, but I'm not worried because it is. Just is what it is. And I'm going to do something similar where I'm going to put a little triangle at the top, and it might be better if I switch down to an O1, because these are much smaller spaces. So I've got a bit more control about the size of the little arrow head at the top. Now, I'm trying to do this so it's about a third the size, but it's more like a half, you know, the height of the triangle, which is fine. Just don't want it all the same size. I want something that, you know, it's obviously an arrowhead because we're doing arrows and triangles and things like that. And then I'm just going to go back and I'm going to have the central line. These may not line up as I go down. Again, worried? Not. It almost gives a little waviness to the whole thing, which is fine. And then, because these are so kind of lost in all of this, I could either colour in the outside edge, which I could do with black, or I could do it with a darker colour. I don't know. What will honeysuckle or the honeysuckle green, you can find it, look like on top of the red? Not a lot of difference. Do I want to do that with red on the outside or shall I go with black? I think I'm going to go with black. So I can zoom in. So I didn't do a very good job there remembering to zoom in. And I'll use my O3 for this because I just think that this is definitely more of a, you know, it's really emphasizing the triangle, isn't it? I think in looking at it now, I wish I'd done like a little border around the triangle and then filled in the rest with black, a bit like that. But it's looking messy because it's such a small area. I could have used the O1, of course, but you know. So I'll make do with it as it is. Try not to make the triangle, the green triangle, any smaller. That's the trick because they're small enough. We've got this here, so that's working quite nicely. Adding this black ink isn't perfect. I'd need to go over it another time, but I just want to get it done so we get a kind of idea of the effect. You won't see all the imperfections that I can see, I'm sure, but it will all be fine. It's a bit of a wonky line there, isn't it? Well, unwonk it. Well, now looks a bit battered. That's fine. We can unbatter it. So that's quite a statement, isn't it? That yellowy green really stands out against the black. Looks like almost a hazard warning going on here. Okie dokes. So I'll do one more section. And I think I'm going to go here. Not sure what I want to put here. don't want to make this um, too ornate, fussy. I'm just going to I'm going to put some lines in just to help me with my construction here. I want to leave a gap in the middle and just between them. So let's put some rounded arches in here that way. Oh, miss there. And then I'm going to try and make them the same width at the bottom. Only want 4 of them. And they vary in width, and I'm not worried. And then I'm going to put semicircles at the bottom. They look a little bit like tentacles. In hindsight, I wish I had left this black border out and just drawn in a border with a pencil, which I could then erase. But I just want these to look almost like we've got some kind of tentacles going on, perhaps. Almost like we've got an octopus tentacle where we can only see the middle bit of it. Can't see the outer edge of these little suckers. I do find octopuses intriguing. All of the I've forgotten what they're called together, cephalopods. They're just such interesting creatures and the way that they do things. You know, their ability to camouflage. And octopuses, God blimey, they escape artists and also lock pickers. You know, they can get in anything, just about. Absolutely amazing. Cuttlefish. I can remember watching a program about cuttlefish, and of course they change colour. Like what they all do, a lot of them do, very rapidly. And they, in an aquarium, they put a cuttlefish in a pool, and it just was plain blue colour or plain colour background, and they put a chessboard in there. And the cuttlefish went and settled on top of the chessboard, and incredibly quickly it replicated the pattern of squares on itself. And yet it hadn't looked at it really. How on earth did it do that? The answer is we don't know. No idea yet. And I fell in love with cuttlefish at that point because I just thought that was so amazing. And I still find them incredibly fascinating to this day, to be honest. Okay, I've got my O1 here because I am going to just go inside here with a finer line just to put that little bit of a border in. Just a fine border, fine edge here. I could have gone round the outside of them, but I wanted to keep them almost as if they're discrete, separate from each other, like, even though they're touching. No, they're not enveloped by anything else. So I like that. And I do want to put a colour in the middle. And I'm going to go for brick red because it's it's the strongest colour, I guess, we've got here. And also it reminds me more of octopi than the greens and browns. So there. The squid are really interesting as well. They look, I just find them all I just find most life really interesting. Especially I love cats. I got home this afternoon. Oh no, home. I was having a delivery of food about tea time here, and I had a notification to say that the chap was at my door. He wasn't quite, but he was nearly there. And I went out, and next door's cat came dashing up to me to say hello. And he was actually in the mood for fusses today, which was amazing. Don't often get him in a fuss-filled mood like that. There, we've got that. And I think what I'm going to do in the middle, because it's quite plain, I can add shadow by using another layer of alcohol ink. Because you can layer this up and intensify the colour. And if you take your time, you can actually get it so it's nice. As it dries, it will um, sort of like fade backwards. But I quite like this for the white in it. I regret now adding the green there, but I like the contrast of that. S- Something to go there. You see, I said I was going to finish after that one, but obviously I'm not. Um, you have a look. I've got this is the O3. I think I will split it into thirds this way. So I've got 12 squares. What can I do in this? Shall I have a look in my little yellow book? Oh, I think we can, don't you? Let's have a look. Oh, now. Ooh, looking at this kind of shape here, or this kind of idea. What does that look like? Which one was it? This one. We've got a bar going across the middle, one that cuts, and we've rounded it. Okay. I can't really do that there because these are too small. It's a bit of a shame. I want something that will fit a small square. One of those. Go backwards. See, I like these with the little square inside, but those are too small. I do like this. That's always been a favourite. I think we can do this one here, I think we can do a variation on that one. So I'll just leave that out so I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to draw little curves on either side. And I'm doing this, I'm not rotating this particular fragment of a pattern, keeping it going all the same way. So I find when this is finished, you get a kind of really interesting, almost ripple effect. You'll see what I mean, I hope. What? And I haven't put a background colour in. No, because I'm going to use colour to help to bring out the. Okay, so I now want to put black arcs in here, just thin ones, and the same here. Draw them on either side at the same time. They might not be identical to the shapes around it in terms of size or thickness, but it will look more kind of symmetrical in each section, I suppose. Won't look odd as the ends will match up. Whether you draw it in two halves like that, or whether you draw it in one, as I have a habit of doing. Don't have to take my pen off the paper then. Oh, that bottom one's a bit thick. I've lost some of the white between them. White gel pen, white pen. Fix that. Fix anything with a white gel pen. Well, to a degree. Now then, the next bit is the fun bit, because this is what does the bits of magic. Because here I'm going to put little curved diamond shapes here. And I might actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one side black and leave the other side not, or leave the other side white, sorry. Don't know why I said not. So this one has got a lot more influence on Zentangle today. But I don't know if you can see how this gives it a kind of almost like these are in shadow here. So I think I'm going to fill these in with black. Let's have high contrast. And I will let this dry, all this ink dry, and then I may come back with the alcohol markers, or I may not. But I will let it dry, and then I will run an eraser over it to remove any excess pigment that's lying on the surface. I find if I do that, there's less likely of the alcohol markers smearing the ink. And the last thing you want is smeary ink. It's true. It makes you get nasty black streaks and just not pleasant. It looks, yeah, it's just not nice. Mix the colours up. That's kind of working a lot better. And part of me wants to put, um, like, I wish I'd made them smaller so I could have put another border around them like I did on the edge. But part of me also wants to put a line with perhaps a break and a couple of dots or a dot in, depending on how much space we've got, because that adds a bit of the dazzliness. Gone over the top here actually as I'm thinking about this, but hey ho, that's completely changed it. Show you if we compare it to what I showed you, hopefully. So this is the one I was doing, and this is what it's ended up like with these lines in. So I've now got almost like seed pods. That that this is where I think colour comes in nicely. So do I want to use that pale green or shall I use the honeysuckle green? Don't want to use a brown because that suggests. Let's use the honeydew green. And I'll use that. In fact, I'm going to alternate the greens. This is the honeydew, not the honeysuckle. I'll miss the next one and then I'll do these ones. So I'm bringing out the rose and the shapes in the rose. I hope. Anyway, we'll see. We'll soon find out, won't we? So I've got that going on. And then if I can find, that's the honeysuckle. Said she who was going to erase this before I started doing this, but it's okay. It's working fine. Just being careful around the middle bit, really, the edges. Help bring those lovely, sort of like almost H shapes out that run on from one to another. Hoping so, and stops us from seeing the seed pods. I'm not sure it does. Might do. So I should have done the dark one on either edge. But there's something going on there. So that's an interesting one. Maybe not the best, but it's a pattern. This one here, I'm going to this one, I'm going to put a border inside. I am using the 05 for speed, but I'm not going to go back and put lumpy bumps on it, not here and now anyway. And I'm going to use the 03 if I can find it. It's over here. And I'm going to create, I'm drawing fairly straight lines here. And I'm going to use these lines to split this section up into awkward, overlapping, I say overlapping, awkward, unusual shapes or different kinds of shapes where these will basically I'm slicing this up into a random. So that one can just join up there, which is fine. And I might just get another one there. That one goes there. Let's see if we can get some others just to split this up a bit. Could do with one there. It's not going all the way to the top though, and neither will that one because they run outside the edge, and I can do the same over here where I can get perhaps one that goes that way and perhaps one that just cuts the corner off there like that. Do I want to have them running horizontally as well, or do I like that as it is? I'm not too sure. This needs to be cut. So that was quite a bold line. This is quite a big area, isn't it? So if I take that there, I can make that go there. That works nicely. And perhaps I can take one here that goes like so. And perhaps I can do one that goes here to there just to cut that a little bit more. I've got options here. I can leave that as it is. I can choose to colour these sections in with colour, or I can add texture to them, to some of them. And I don't have to add texture to them all. I can just make it an interesting arrangement. What I think I might do is with the tiniest sections is just go in first and fill those the tiniest bits in with just black, because you're not going to be able to fill them in with, well, you could, but why when you can just fill them in with black and not worry about it? This one I'm actually going to fill in, and then I've got that interesting kind of Star Wars communicator kind of shape, or not Star Wars, Star Trek, United Federation of Planets thing, symbol. No, it's not. It was the communicator, wasn't it? Yeah. You see, talking rubbish, Starfleet. That's what I'm looking for. That was the word I was looking for. So we've got quite a bit of black going on there. So we've got some structure there, and I think it might be that I can go to some of the slightly larger ones and fill those in just to add a bit of balance where there is no black. I mean, this can be filled in there. We get that kind of shape. So as these shapes are joining up, they are getting bigger, which gives me permission to fill some others in almost, or a reason to fill some in. So I'm looking at where have we got shapes that are still quite small that could have some ink in. Or less filled with some black ink anyway. So that one would be, this one is small. Oh, this one's quite small, as is that one. So let's fill that one. That one's quite small as well. So we'll fill that one. This one's a weird shape, so I'm going to fill that one in. Okay. This one's looking a little bit on the small side. This one's got a very strange shape at the top. I think I'm okay now with those. I'm going to get my O1 pen, which is over here. And then with some of the ones that aren't touching the black, I'm going to fill them in with hatching, but I'm going to break those lines with some dots to create an interesting kind of texture, which will be a bit more forgiving than trying to draw perfectly straight lines or parallel lines or whatever. Of course, you can do whatever you like. Um, so I was going to try and do ones that aren't touching black with this, because this is still quite ink intensive, especially if I go back and cross hatch, which means going across these diagonally, which is always something I can do. Anywhere else where we've got one that is, this one isn't touching anything black either, so let's do that this way. Though if I'm going to cross hatch, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference which direction I put them in. And I may got this one here as well, which I think would It's far enough away from the other grey one that it will look all right, and I think that one in the corner there I can do perhaps. I'll have a look then or see if I need anywhere else. Let's have a look. That one could be fun. And something in the centre here. I think I'm going to have to do. Well, I say I have to do. I will do this one. It just feels the right place to put it. Like that. So that's working. That's okay. I think. Yeah. And then I really want to have some that have some texture in that's a bit more open. So I'm going to fill them with little rounded blocks so that we're splitting this up a little bit. I didn't want to put them side by side, but we've still got the section well defined, but now it's being split up in a different kind of way. And I'm trying not to have them touching those lined ones. Try and leave some white space in between everything. Well, actually, that I think that one there could be getting some interesting shapes in the black areas. So as I go across, I see others I can put some interesting stuff in. I don't want little sections that are similar in size to these little blocks because that would be confusing. This one can have some little blocks in as well, like that. And I think this one can here. Okay, we need some. This hasn't got anything. I'm looking at where I could squeeze some more in. I could put some here, like so. And perhaps here in this section. And they might go at different angles, and I'm fine with that. It all adds to the interest. My thought is to try and get a range of um, how dense colours are, how dense the sections are to try and separate them out. I've got a lot of white. I've got 3 whites here, and I don't know which one I want to put something in because, but I'm going to have a look. Does that look okay as it is? I think it does. I think I'm happy with that. Can't think of anything else I want to do with it. I could put little circles in, but then it'll be slightly denser than that. I could use colour in some, but I'm not going to. So I just have one section left to do. And this one, I'm going to take that honeydew green. Oh, I've got that there. So let's use a different colour. Honeysuckle green. Got the Charo brown up there, but I've got a section in Charo brown. I don't want to use brick red because it's so dark. So I've got a choice. I can either leave this as it is in white and do something in there, or I can use a pattern and add. I know. I do know what I want to do. I got the Charo brown. Oops, try the other end. And I'm going to draw that in as a shape. That at the edge there. Just going to add some more at the top so that perhaps that would come out a little bit darker. I can always come back once it's dried just to add that little bit more. Then I'm going to use the honeysuckle green beneath that, leaving a little bit of white between them as a kind of, sort of border, because I'm going to put black lines there. Whether I fill that white area in completely with black or whether I try and preserve some of that white, I don't know. Adding more ink to the edges on this one. It's all going to be a bit of a pickle here. I think it'll be an okay kind of pickle. This one I'm going to add more ink on the edges here too. Be fine. And then the bottom one, I'm going to go for the honeydew melon. Said I think the brick red will be just too dark for this, but we've got this going. From dark to light. So, and again, I'm going to add ink to the edges just to see if I can get those that little bit darker. I'm learning that you don't need quite so much contrast for that. And it's always nice to use the same colour. Colour mixing goes out the window that way. You're using the same colour, just adding more pigment, whatever. Right, I want the O3. Yeah, we'll use the O3. And let's see how. Perhaps I can leave an edge of white, just about. This one I definitely can leave the white in. I'll have a bigger space. So perhaps, I don't know, do I need to? I was thinking about filling that one in, but I quite like it. So these are going to be fun for just filling in with textures. So I'm going to use rounded brick or stone kind of shapes, like a stone wall, a wall built out of stones, quite literally, random shapes and sizes, fitting well together. Almost like natural stones that have been found and used to build a wall. And some of them might be very odd shapes because I don't want big areas of black here, but I am using black as cement to hold them together, if you will. There's a skill to building brick walls. In Wales, we have what they call dry stone walls, and they look quite different to dry stone walls in, say, Yorkshire. And every area has its own kind of style and way of doing it. And it's a very skilled craft, which thankfully people are still doing, but I don't know if it's going to survive. So we've got this here now. Then I've got choices. Part of me wants to put black circle or a black circularish shape in the middle and just leave that border, which I think would look quite nice actually. Let's do that. The alternative was I was just going to put something like that to suggest a roundedness, but I actually quite like this idea. I put some contour lines in to build up the roundedness, but there's something about this that's nice. That black is helping the colour to show. Against the white, it looks quite insipid, really, but with black around it, you really do see that colour. So I like black in things. I think that's why I feel so uncomfortable drawing with coloured ink. I'm happy to use coloured ink to add colour to drawings and so on, but I much prefer to draw the design in black. There's something about it says, look at me, here I am. This one, that's very dense with black. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to take the O1 and I'm going to draw lines with a break in them further apart than I have done before to make it a bit lighter in area so that we're not adding too much darkness here, but we're adding some interest, some texture. And the little break will give the idea that we might have a bit of sparkle, a bit of light shining off this, which we don't really have here. Just going to go and touch things up as I go along. My lines are beginning to bend here, and I'm going to go with it. Started off with very vertical straight lines, but now I'm getting some bending going on. And I wish I'd started bending them at the beginning, but whatever this is, it must be it's like a layer through the soil or the earth showing sort of like geological layers. Well, perhaps the geological layer is being squished in a different way than it was here. Who knows? What can I do with this lot? I think I know. I'm going to draw ink bars in that don't touch the border, top or bottom. I'm going to leave a bit of space between them, and you'll see why in a moment. Working on a smaller scale can be very satisfying. It's perfect for when you'd feel overwhelmed by, say, an A4 or even an A3 piece of paper. Goodness forbid that I should ever work on A3 again. Takes days, if not a week or two, to draw on that size with me. So I do draw things very tiny, which is why I need to use bigger pens or, pens that have got a thicker nib. But it's something that you can do. You can feel a sense of purpose. You can feel a sense of completion, that satisfaction of having something complete. Like this is being done really as a sampler, trying things out to see what happens. And it doesn't matter too much if I don't finish it or if I mess it up. I've got something to learn from it. I've got something to refer to. There may be things here I really like, and they may end up getting transferred into my yellow pattern book, as it will, my yellow record book for patterns and textures and motifs and goodness knows what else. And it's safe to use different colours. I mean, these aren't colours I naturally would have gravitated to. Perhaps I do nowadays more, but perhaps not ones I would naturally pick. I am going towards more earthier tones and more muted tones than anything else these days. But it's still a bit of a different thing for me because I really didn't know how these colours were going to work out. And as it happens, I quite like them. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't go home, I don't know if I'd ever use them again. I've got a record of what they were. So this, I may actually attach to the back, cut that off and stick it to the back with washi tape or something so that it can be taken off. But I actually quite like this just as it is. Right, I'm going to cover up my primes here just a bit. I'm going to get the A03, giving that a chance to dry for a moment. Because there's one last thing there's a couple of things I want to do before I finish. I know I said I was going to keep this to about an hour, but it's going to be a little bit longer. And to those who've joined me later, I'm so sorry. I don't know why the chat isn't on. I'm sure I set it to be on. I'm not having a lot of luck with YouTube lives these days. The last videos, it took me 3 goes until sound was audible. It seems that Windows updated today, and now I've got different issues with sound and getting it to work, particularly on Zoom, because Zoom is a pain, but in some ways, but it's so useful in others. Um, yeah, I'm just going around these black lines just to define these and perhaps try and put a thickness in to add feeling that there might be some shadow here. And also because I put it's not because I put the alcohol markers on top, it's because I use the eraser. I took some of the pigment away so the lines aren't as dark. There. Right, where's this white pen? On this, I'm not going to do anything down here. This one, I am going to put little white dots. Come on, you can work. This pen doesn't particularly like this paper. It's got a very smooth surface. and gel pens aren't fans of smooth surfaces. So I'm putting white here to bring attention back to this kind of, this is the part I want to emphasize here, not those bits, is the kind of thing I'm saying. Here, I am going to just put a dot in the middle of these arrowheads, just like that. And again, that will lift those up and give some kind of sense. I'm doing nothing to this one. I'm not going to do anything here. This one, I think I might just put diagonally across. See that one there? Where's the O one? There. Put red in that corner one so I can disguise that with those. That. But I just think that this just might lift this that little bit. It's like we've got a sparkle or dazzle or, some glint of light off things. So it'll lift these sections up here as if they're curved upwards. Oh, that's got some extra dots. How dare they? Well, they are what they are. We do, just go with it, see what happens. So I've now got that, but I've now got that cross pattern underneath, haven't I? Instead of putting those other lines in, so it's added to that. Here, I'm not going to add anything there. I want those left black. I could add, in fact, I might just go in here and add a line of little white dots in the gaps. If I miss the gap, I'm not worried. If it goes over the black line, this pen will cover it up. So it'll look like it's supposed to be there. But that helps bring that curve out there and that bit of sparkle. This one, I'm actually going to put the dots in between the bars about halfway up. So there will be some movement of it as it goes up and down, like the shapes do. There. So that's just added, and it adds that little bit of lightness to it. Here, I am tempted actually just to put a shape like that. Now I do have to go and clean some of this up because we've had some overspills in places. That was not an overspill. Um, but let's have a look here and see what that looks like. What's the worst thing I have to do? Well, go over it with the alcohol marker maybe. But tempted to just fill these in actually. I can go back over this once it's dried because the beauty of this pen, because it's document safe, archival, it's permanent when it dries. So it doesn't react with water or the ink again. And so you can add an extra layer on the top or layers as long as you let them dry. Should be okay. I find it useful to dot ink down as well, particularly in the areas where it's a little bit thinner. And that is looking a bit better. I've managed to cross some of the black lines, but I can deal with that later on. Okie dokes, is there anything else here? I I I want to put I really, 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 really want to put like little berries in there. And to do that, I think I'm going to use these because I know my moonlight pens are downstairs. I'm not going to use those. So what colour? I think the red would work nicely. It will tone in with the brick red, I think, and it'll be subtle. These are Pentel, um, what are they? Pentel Hybrid Dual Metallic. The red, I think, there's a red and a pink in this. I think, or is it red and orange? I'm not, show me on there. Oh, it's red and pink. And different colours show up on different coloured paper. So I can just pop some little glitter, red glitter there. I think I've made a, yeah, I think I've made a boo-boo there. I'm going to put some here just above the point on this side. So that would make sense. And then just above the point on this side then. And then we've got a, we're making a pattern of it. Find if I go over the top with, I'm going to put one there, even though there's nothing there, just to fill that space in. If you go over the top with glitter, you lose the point of it. So I don't think I want to put any more in because there's nothing that needs that here. And I think I'm now hot diggity doodity, kind of. I don't know where that came from, mind you. I think, I really do think I'm done with this now. I've got an interesting, I'd say I'm done. I'm almost done. It's one thing I need to do, and that's put my initials and the date on. And it's the 13th of November, 2024. I'm quite happy with this, and I will zoom out so you can see it in all its glory. I'm quite happy with that. Not sure about the glitter, but it is what it is. It's red. It looks almost Christmassy, sort of like a dowdy old Christmas. But I think it's worked out all right. Maybe, maybe. Not sure. Actually, this white pen has picked up some of the pigment from the red there. And now that's dry, I do need to use a pen just to go over where I've overspilled the white, just that little bit on the edges. There we go, that's better, innit? Everywhere else is fine. It's a bit there. Pest, there, got it. Let me know what you think. I will return to exploring tangles on a Thursday. Last Thursday, I was just so shattered after my Welsh class. I just fell asleep. And then when I woke up, there's no way I could think or do anything. It took it out of me last week. Part of me thinks I shouldn't have gone, but it's good I did. And I didn't go yesterday because I just didn't wake up in time. And I was feeling grotty with the tonsillitis anyway. But let me know which kinds of tangles or patterns you'd like me to have a look at. I know I said I'd finish in October. I'll be into 2025 with that, the rate I go. Um, Tell me if you'd like to see more patterns like this or other things. That's what the comment box is for, because, you know, you're as much part of this community as I am, and I do me. I've indulged myself today with this one. It's another one to go in the pile of good stuff, that I've got going on here. Ideas and, my hoard of ideas. Will I ever do something that I think I'll sell? Possibly. Or have prints or cards made of this. These are quite make nice cards of bookmarks. Short and wide bookmark, but you make a bookmark. Who says they have to be long and thin? Okay. Um, but it'd be a nice card, some of them will be. I'm wittering, but just let me know if you've got anything in particular you'd like to see. I can't promise I'll do it instantly, but I'll try and remember to make a list of things. And just before I go, I just want to say thank you for all the comments you've left over the last couple of weeks while I've been missing it again. Um, I will get round to answering them. I just haven't had that ability to concentrate easily. Again, I'm still finding it really hard at times. I get very tired mentally so quickly. But, it's all's well, really. So thank you so much for joining me. So, hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you some ideas. I hope that you're going to try some of these things out. And I look forward to being with you again soon. I don't know about tomorrow because, as I say, I'm hoping to make it to my Welsh class. I'll see what I'm like afterwards or in the evening. And I will certainly post in the, what do you call it, the community section of my YouTube corner. And if you've subscribed and you've clicked for notifications, you'll get a notification of that. Okay? And so you won't miss me. Though I may just record it and post it like that. Who knows what I'm going to do? I don't. Depends how much energy I've got and focus. I've said this before, I'm more like it's easier for me at the moment to go live than it is to record and do all the editing and uploading and everything else. I still have to go back and edit the description for this about what happened, try and take a picture of this to put on the comments and around, I didn't do this last time with the last video I did, haven't shown anything from it. I've got loads of images to share and I just haven't done it yet. My artwork, I will do. I might make a little video that will go up somewhere with just pictures, flicking through so you can see them one after the other. I don't know. It's not going to be tonight because I really need a cup of tea or something to drink. I've got to take my penicillin and I have to stay awake long enough to take another dose because I've only had two today and I need to take four a day. And I haven't quite managed to get four a day most days. Some days, not all. So, and I can't eat for an hour, 2 hours before I take it, and then I can't eat for an hour after I've taken it. So, hey, hey, equally spaced through the day. Yeah, it works. I do my best. Anyway, I'm wittering. I have trouble. I have issues with, attachment and letting go. So I am going to go. I wish you all the very best. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day and days until I come back with another chat, with another video. And please take time to take care of yourself, to be creative. The world is a funny old place. There's so much going on at the moment. If it wasn't for my art and other creative activities and Harry Potter films and Star Wars films, I'm not quite sure how well I'd be doing. But there we are. So take care. See you soon. Bye. Love you all. Bye. I'm waving at you as I said that. I know. Bye.